Hello, Mr. Randy Duck, and welcome back for another video. Today I have a special guest replay from Tubby Woods, and honestly this replay is fantastic. It's in the Progetto 65 and honestly goes on to have an absolutely crazy game, so it's well worth the watch. So here we are on Duke La Pass. It is Duke La Pass Team Disruption, so we don't have to worry about the cap circles. And because of the spawns, you kind of spawn a little bit closer on the left hand side, so he's going to push quite aggressively here and see if we can spot anything on the other side of the enemy hills. Like I say, because of the spawn types, you can get there a little bit quickly. Now the setup for this tank, the crews and equipment, they weren't necessarily what Tubby Woods was running. That's what I run on the Progetto 65, which you would have seen in the bottom of the screen. Just wanted to just let you know that, but I imagine they're probably pretty similar. He's probably running something pretty similar to myself. So here we are at the start of the game. He's waiting in position just to see patiently if he can get any shots into enemy tanks. Enemy heavy tank gets spotted and he dumps one shot in. Being an auto reloader, what the Progetto 65 is, he's going to wait now and reload that shell so he doesn't waste his DPM. And now is an Avery who's trapped in place, so he's going to try and get some shots into that enemy Avery because obviously it's a dangerous tank. And now he's going to dump his clip, finishing it off on the enemy Barras there. So yeah, he's had a pretty decent start to this game. He picked up 2,000 damage, or just under 2,000 damage, but he has now dumped his full clip. So the way the Italian auto reloaders work is when you're empty, the first shell you load into your tank has the longest reload, and then it gradually gets a little bit quicker. But then that basically means once you're fully loaded, the first shell you fire has your quickest reload. Once you've got past that shell and you dump your clip, your DPM comes really poor when you are empty, because you only have 360 alpha and you have a really long reload once you are completely empty. But that's the way the auto reloaders work. But when it's a long thought out game, it's not too much problem when you've got time to actually get your reload in. So he has had a decent start, but the game's still very close here. It looks like a lot of the enemy team may have pushed around to the other side of the map, but there is still quite a few tanks here for him to actually get shots into. So he's been quite, he's been passive here. He's not making any silly mistakes. He's waiting for that shell to load. You don't want to make the mistake with the Italian auto reloaders to fire too early before that shell's actually reloaded, because then you've wasted all that time reloading. And he managed to actually pick up another just over 1,000 damage there, putting them on to 3,000 damage with 9 penetrations. And now we're just going to wait. Obviously, he's dumped his clip again. So, he's just had a quick look at the big map. I mean, Tubby Woods obviously plays with a small mini map on the right hand side all the time. I like to flick between the two, but it's whatever your preference is. This clearly works for him, as you'll see by having a really good game in this replay. So he's just trying to create a little bit of an angle here. You're in the Progetto. The one thing the Progetto does have is it does have decent concealment. I think I got the concealment of mine down to around 274 with the camo on. So he does have pretty good concealment. It's very mobile as well, so you can manoeuvre around the map. So it's good on sort of the big open play maps. It's just the DPM which is the main problem. So when it's games where they're lasting a little bit longer and it's not so one-sided, then it can excel a lot more. So he's managed to get an extra shot in there, and now he's just having a little look to see where can he get the damage, where can he get these shots in, and he's thinking he's going to go back to the other side and see if he can help out his team over there, because he knows there are some enemy tanks which he might be able to get some shots in. Again, still a very close game at this point. There's only one tank in it right now. And then actually, it does start to go, it's still very close at this point. So he's just having a little look. He can't quite find any shots. So he's thinking about trying to push across, I believe, and see if he can try and help out his enemy tanks over that side to try and win one side so they don't just get trapped in the corner. But as that happens, an enemy Udez crosses, and he's going to see if he can try and get some shots in to this tank. He manages to put 2 shots in before the Udez gets safe. He doesn't want to go chasing that Udez because he's going to get caught in a crossfire, and that would be a pretty bad idea. He's just going to wait to see if that Barras shows over before he moves on, while he's trying to finish loading his final shell with the clip, putting it back to a fully loaded tank. Having a decent start. We've got over 4,000 damage now, 12 penetration shots, and a tab of assistance. But it is getting it to that later stage of the game It's still close. There's only sort of 2 tanks in it at the moment, so yeah, there's not a lot in it. He's seen an enemy one shot there. He's managed to pick that up kill. He's still full health, and this enemy Valor is clippable. So he's going to eat the shot, which is probably the right thing to do, and then just be able to dump the rest of his clip before the Valor's able to reload and hit him twice. So well worth the trade-off there. Able to take out another tank, trying to keep those scores a little bit more even. But again, he has dumped his clip now, so he has got the sort of terrible reload. Hoping to try and get that in to pick up the kill. Unfortunately, doesn't quite manage to get that one in to pick up the 3rd kill at the game, but he does get shut down by his friendly TVP driver. Again, at this stage, still a very, very close game. 5 versus 6 at the moment. So yeah, definitely well in the balance. And we've got sort of about 5,500 damage, 2 kills. You know, so at this stage, a decent game for a tier 10 tank, but yeah, it doesn't end there. He's just, at this point now, we're just waiting. Like I say, it's team destruction. There's time on the clock. So he doesn't need to do anything particularly rash. He's just going to play a bit patient and might as well wait until his clip actually fully loads here. So then he can see if anything gets detected. Enemy E100 does get spotted in the open. He doesn't want to fire just yet because he wants to wait for that shell to load. Once that shell's loaded, he gets 1 shot in. Tries to get a 2nd shot through the drive wheel. Unfortunately, it doesn't penetrate, but he does squeeze one in through the lower plate, putting him over just about 6,000 damage now, and he's got to go back onto the reload. I think on the standard APCR rounds in this tank, you've got about 268 penetration, but you've got fantastic shell velocity of 1,468, which makes those standard rounds really nice to fire because of those shell velocity. And then you have the heat shells with 330 penetration. But the thing about the heat shells, at least with this tank, you've actually got quite quick shell velocity too, 1,173 on the heat shells. But he's managed to catch this Chieftain out there, put 2 shots in, putting us on to just about 7,000 damage. And this game's starting to slip away in the terms of his team have fallen away, and he's now in a 2 versus 5 situation. So all of a sudden, this game's kind of turned on its head, and it's looking a lot more challenging. But the good thing about it is, like I say, the enemy team can't cap out, so they've got to kill all. It's quite a big map, and a lot of the vision tanks have been destroyed. So there's only heavy tanks left and enemy tank destroyers. So being in a Progetto which has good concealment and good mobility, he should be able to try and keep his distance here and try and pick these tanks off and make him sort of come across the open to try and deal with them, which is going to make sort of situations like this a lot easier to deal with, because what you don't really want to do is fight all these tanks sort of one by one in a sort of corridor brawl. You want to try and catch them out in the open, make him try and come to you. Unfortunately, he does get detected there, so enemy team are going to know where he is. He's just trying to fall back somewhat, lose the spot. Does pick up a little bit of assistance off that E75 from his friendly TVP there. But like I say, the E75 is full health. There was a Chieftain which I think was only on like 400 hit points from earlier on in the video. So it's kind of they're sort of useful bits of information when it comes to this stage of the video game. Is just remembering what the hit points were of each enemy tanks. What are all the enemy tanks? Because that's sort of information which is going to let you know, if you're going to be out, if they're going to be on a one shot. All very important informations. And he gets a very lovely shot there onto that G-Saw, picking up a kill, evening up the scores slightly, putting us into a 2 versus 4. Looking to see if he can get a shot into this Chieftain here. But good if he can finish off this Chieftain. Unfortunately, he doesn't quite have a shot. But then the enemy Foch comes. He's going to dump his clip into his TVP. He gets unlucky. He bounces there off of the cupola. And then he bounces again off the 2nd shot of the cupola. Again, unlucky. He's going to try and get a 3rd shot in. I think the Foch has actually dumped his clip there onto the TVP. He does pen his last 2 shots, putting him onto sort of around, I think around 8,000 damage now. But he's got to get out of there, because obviously the Foch is going to be on reload. But he's going to need to reload too. So what he's doing in this situation is he's leaving, going this way. See, he's detected, so the enemy tanks are probably going to think he's going that way. But now he's lost his spot, he's going to turn around and try and fall back. So basically, obviously I haven't spoken to Tony Woods, but I just watch this replay. I think this is what I would do. You're trying to let them think that you're going one way, now you're actually turning around. So hopefully that Foch will keep driving, trying to chase Tubby Woods down, and then Tubby Woods could get the shots and pick up a kill here. So he's just going to wait patiently here, just hoping that TD is going to follow him from his last known location, and then try and catch him off guard. And yeah, I think he's on a 2-shot to him, so hopefully he can try and get his shot in. But he does get out spotted there, which was a little bit peculiar, which is a bit odd. But the Foch does get spotted eventually, and he does end up squeezing those 2 shots in, putting him onto 8,500 damage with 5 kills and 3 enemy tanks remaining. The Chieftain, I think, was on either a 1-shot or the 2-shot. The E75 was pretty healthy. And the E100, I can't remember how many hit points it had left. I think he had a few chunks of hit points. So there's still a lot more damage which could potentially be had in this game. And considering he's already on 6 kills, 8,500 damage, this could be one hell of a game here. It's already a good game right now. But if he could try and pull this off, like I say, they are heavy tanks, so he's got a good chance of out-spotting them. If he can try and pick them off one by one, that's going to be his best bet. Still has time on the clock, so he can take his time. He's just got to try and out-spot them. He just spotted enemy E100, who is a 2-shot to him. But what he does here, he doesn't... This is smart, like you say. He doesn't see the E100 and realise, oh, I can take a shot, I'm going to go in. Because it could be other stuff. There's 2 other tanks in the game. He could just take the game to get shot and taken out. So he's going to play it safe. He's just going to run off and try and attack this E100 from a different angle. Ideally, if he can be fighting the E100 when he's not even detected and firing him undetected, then that's going to give him a better chance, really. So that's what he's going to try and do, because, like I say, time, he still has time. It's like just over 3 minutes on the clock. He's very quick and quite mobile. The E100 can't really go that far because it's not that slow. He was looking to try and get one into the side of this turret. Doesn't quite get the opportunity. But what he's going to do is just try and set himself up for that E100 to come towards him. And then he can see him pick that kill. Because obviously, at this point, he's probably thinking, where the hell's that Chieftain? And where the hell's that E75? So he's obviously got that in the back of his mind. He doesn't want to get those tanks snuck up on him while he's trying to fight E100. Then he spots enemy Chieftain in the open, and he gets 2 shots in and picks up the kill. There's enemy E100. He's going to try and squeeze in the shot here. Doesn't quite, he's got the APCR loaded, so he's only got 268 penetration. And obviously from a distance, that penetration is going to be lower as well, the APCR. So he's just going to wait for this E100 to come in, and then see if he can try and get some shots on him. He's got 9,000 damage now. I mean, a crazy game. He's had a ridiculous game. Here comes E100, tries to get a shot in for the lower plate. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite go in. He can pen the top bar. It's not a guaranteed pen, but he does get that one in. Puts them onto a 1-shot. E100 misses his shot, and he's able to finish that off now. Putting them onto 7 kills. 9,500 damage. And that E75, I'm pretty sure had like over 1,000 hit points. He had to get close to 11,000 damage if he was able to pull this off, which would be one hell of a game. And obviously he's still got 7 kills as well, so this would actually give him the Radley medals as well. And yeah, so he's just looking for this E75 now. He's got we've got about 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock, so it is getting a bit like, clutch whether he's going to be able to find this tank in time. Really wants to try and find this E75. Hopefully E75 hasn't sort of hid, but he has spotted E75, so this should give him enough time. He can eat a shot off of this E75 as well if he needs to, and then just dump his clip into him. So he does eat a shot. Now he's just going to sit there and just dump this clip in. Gets a 3rd shot in, looking to try and get the final shot in, which he does, putting him onto a 1-shot. And all what he's got to do now, he can eat another shot off of the E75 if he needs to, which is not a problem. He's just got to wait for this shot to come in. Unless it's something really, really unlucky happens, he should be able to pick up this win here, which is going to be an incredible victory in the Progetto 65 there. So gets a finishing kill, and there we go. Let's just get to the scoreboards, and we'll see how we actually got on. What a massive game there in the Progetto 65 there by Tubby Woods. He picks up 8 kills, just shy of 11,000 damage in the Progetto. So an amazing game. So thank you for sending that replay in. And yeah, thanks for your support. And as always, happy tanking.
Hadouken!